I know most of you have probably heard of the story of Tony Evans by now and him stepping down from his position as a pastor.
Well-known Dallas pastor Dr. Tony Evans stepped aside from leading the 10,000-member Oak Cliff Bible Fellowship. Evans cited a past sin as the reason for the move after more than 40 years at the pulpit.
We want to talk about it, but not in the way most people might want to address it. Everyone's talking about, what sin did he do? What did he do? Why do it? How, when? How long ago? Is he still doing it? Why is he stepping down now? It's been years ago, and blah, 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 blah. I think what most are not watching is the fact that he did step down, that they had been in talks about what had happened, and the only people that need to know are the ones that are in the confines of that building, which, if you read and that's what you follow, it should be the way to go. However, we want to make the comparison to another preacher. And you can be for yourself, make your own assessment of our comparison, okay? The other person we're going to compare Tony to is one T.D. Jakes. Kind of a stretch? Not really. Here's why. You see, while Tony's sin was not spoken about, not known, no one ever knew about it, he still stepped down. Meanwhile, you have Mr. Jakes, whose sin is blatantly obvious to everyone, apparently not to him. You are seen at places you as a pastor ought not to even grace the doors of, but you still went.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
And you brag about going to those places, and you've been seen on stage doing debaucherous acts, and you've been seen behind the pulpit talking about your wife twerking, and you're still up there.
5 kids, 9 grandkids, and still rocking it. She can still twerk for the Lord.
Tony stepped down, and you still preaching. Sorry, I don't think I can call it preaching. You still yapping. What you're seeing before you is a case of two different approaches to what we call church. On one side, you have Tony's situation, and on the other, T.D. Jakes. And the two aren't even remotely close to meeting. Because for a long time, the church has been divided over what we consider sin. Because you ask any Christian, and they probably can't tell you what a sin is. They can tell you an act. They can, well, that's a sin and that's a sin. And then they tell, well, you're living in sin. So which one is it? How do you live in sin and commit to sin? Is it an act or is it a location? Make up your mind. I'm sure most don't know. However, we're going to talk about whether or not the approaches to each of these people apply to the book that they say they defend. Okay, so let's look at this. As an elder or pastor, you are supposed to be above reproach. See if it weighs up against T.D. Jakes here. Above reproach, fail. That's number one, scratch mark. He doesn't match up to that. Tony lived up to that until this incident. You are to be free from blemish. Doesn't apply to T.D. Jakes. We still don't know what the blemish is on Tony, but he still decided to step down. So far, Tony is batting at 100, and T.D. Jakes is not. Have no association with the darkness. Tony, so far you don't know what darkness, and he still stepped down. T.D. Jakes, you saw exactly what darkness, and he's still up there talking about, all I have to do is apologize and ask for forgiveness.
If everything was true, all I got to do is repent sincerely from my heart. There's enough power in the blood to cover all kinds of sins.
You see the difference? One is completely self-absorbed, T.D. Jakes. The other at least has some modicum of respect for the office of a preacher and does not want to taint it by whatever it is he did. He is not willing for it to be something that will be a stumbling block to people in his congregation. Meanwhile, this other one is still going to all the parties, still wearing all the things he wears, the dresses, talking all the things he talks about. But he's a mentor. I hope this serves one purpose and one purpose mainly, this comparison, is so that you can fully figure out who the wolves are. Now, I may not fully agree with everything Tony Evans has ever preached. I don't think anybody will ever be 100% on board with somebody that preaches, period. You'll find something that either rubs you the wrong way, you don't agree with, you can't get behind, whatever it is. But I can tell you this much, when it comes to people defending something like the book, the Bible, and living it out, the book, the Bible, and preaching from it, the book, the Bible. If I were to only have two contestants and one was Tony and one was TD, the obvious winner would be Tony. Because he is seeing something further down the road like a shepherd should, and doing his best to avoid it harming the people he's supposed to be shepherding. Meanwhile, the other guy is continuing to do things that will make sure that his congregation stumbles, all the while telling people, I'm fine. I'm really happy you're concerned about me.
Go ahead and lift him up. I am fine. I'm good.
When you look at these two men, one's a man, the other one, I don't know what he is. When you look at these two individuals with a deductive reasoning mind, you have to come to only one conclusion. One is completely aware of what his actions can do to other people, and the other one is completely oblivious. He could either be oblivious or he really does not give two damns about what people think, to the point where even if it's anti-God, he still pushes it. Yet still we have a whole slew of people trying to find out what it is that Tony did. What did he do? What sin was it? Why? How? When? What? How long ago? Why does it matter if he took the steps that's necessary for somebody caught in sin? For the first time, a preacher actually takes responsibility and says, it's on me. I'm stepping down and stepping away because of that. He's getting all kinds of attention for that. Meanwhile, the snake himself is running around, masquerading all over the place. I know that people gave slack to him when he caught with the TD Jakes thing and Puff Daddy. People went after TD. I get that, but nobody went after him for the myriads of lies he told about God. They didn't do that. Select few channels, maybe. Select few people. This is a big problem in the church today. You know why? Because we ourselves have become hypocrites. If we like somebody, we look past their flaws. And that person then feels entitled to continue in the flaws because you don't care. TD Jakes. But there are still some people who says, regardless of how comfortable you may be, I'm not. I was charged with something. I failed at that charge, and I need to make sure that I am fully reconciled before I can even begin to get back onto that charge. That's Tony. Meanwhile, the other guy has not done that. And he has way more reason in the public light to do that for. Hasn't done it. In fact, he's upped the ante by doing even more egregious things and laughing about it in your face. God can't touch him, is what he thinks. Because in his mind, he's working for God. I mean, I'm pretty sure he's working for his God. No doubt about that. I'm 100% sold on the fact that TD Jakes is working for his God. But not the God. And while I may not agree 100% with Tony, I 100% agree with his action of stepping away to make sure that none of the flock are affected by whatever it is he did. And I commend him for that. He handled it 100% the right way. I think many more preachers could learn from that example. If you are considered a teacher preacher and you have fallen prey to whatever it is that you've fallen prey to, I hope that you take the same approach that Tony did. Speak to the others, step away. Please do not be like TD Jakes that has absolutely nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. Pray for me, church. Pray for me. Again, y'all can decide which side you're going to take, because we're all going to take sides, whether you believe it or not. People take sides. Are you going to be the ones that wants to know all the dirty details of what he did when he actually took actions? Or are you going to be the ones that see obvious dirty actions and not require someone to act accordingly? Because at the end of the day, this is about the things that matter most, God. And if one person is leading more people away from him, and you have no problem with that, you have to ask yourself a very important question. Do you even believe in God?